The UES Nemesis drifted silently through the Epsilon sector, its dark hull absorbing starlight like a shadow-given form. Captain Marcus Drake stood at the observation deck, his weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass. 20 years of deep space patrol had taught him patience, but something about today felt different. The sensors had been picking up unusual readings for the past hour. "Captain, unknown vessel approaching from Vector 739, Lieutenant Kira Jin's voice carried across the bridge, steady despite the tension. "Configuration doesn't match any known species in our database." Drake turned from the window, his cybernetic eye adjusting to focus on the main display. The alien ship resembled a crystalline structure, all angles and geometric precision. It was beautiful, in an otherworldly way. "Maintain current course. Let's see what they want." The Vanguard ship, as they would later learn to call it, belonged to an ancient race that considered themselves the guardians of galactic order. They had watched humanity's expansion into space with growing concern, but their attempts to understand Earth's capabilities had been consistently frustrated by human encryption and security measures. "They are initiating some kind of scan," reported Chief Engineer Nikolai Volkov from his station, his artificial arms moving across multiple interfaces simultaneously. "It's unlike anything we've encountered before. They are trying to penetrate our quantum shielding." Drake's expression hardened. The Nemesis wasn't just any ship, it was humanity's best-kept secret. A vessel that combined traditional technology with something far more advanced, the Nexus Core, a semi-organic quantum computer that learned and evolved. The ship wasn't just a warship, it was alive in its own way. "Sir," Kira's voice took on an edge of urgency, "they are attempting to breach the Nexus protocols." The alien scan pressed deeper, pushing past layers of security that had taken humanity decades to develop. But as they reached the core, something unexpected happened. The Nexus responded. Across the bridge, screens flickered with ancient symbols. The ship's lights pulsed with a deep, crimson glow. Drake felt it, the subtle shift in the air, the way the deck plates seemed to vibrate with newfound energy. The Nemesis had always been more than the sum of its parts, but now it was awakening fully. "Multiple systems coming online," Nikolai reported, his voice filled with awe. "Sir, the Nexus it's evolving." The alien scan triggered something. The Vanguard ship suddenly backed away, as if realizing its mistake. But it was too late. The Nemesis's response was immediate and overwhelming. A pulse of energy, invisible to normal sensors, rippled out from the human vessel. When it touched the alien ship, their systems began to fail one by one. "They are sending a transmission," Kira announced, her hands flying over her console. "Text only, translating now." The message appeared on the main screen: "We meant no harm. Please, you don't understand what you possess." Drake stepped forward, his cybernetic eye glowing faintly. "I think they are the ones who don't understand, Lieutenant. Send them this reply, you should have asked first." The Nemesis's transformation continued. Panels across its hull shifted, revealing weapon systems that had laid dormant since the ship's construction. The Nexus core pulsed with power, feeding data directly into the crew's neural interfaces. They could feel their ship's anger, not just at this intrusion, but at the presumption behind it. "Sir," Nikolai called out, his artificial arms moving in perfect synchronization, "the Nexus is accessing restricted files. It's learning. Growing. Whatever they did with that scan, it acted like a key." The alien vessel attempted to retreat, but the Nemesis moved with impossible speed. No human ship should have been able to match their maneuverability, yet here they were, keeping pace effortlessly. "They are charging weapons," Kira reported calmly. Drake nodded slowly. "Let them. It's time they learned that humanity isn't what they expected. Nikolai, bring all systems to full power. Let's show them exactly what they've awakened." The Vanguard ship fired first, a bolt of energy that should have disabled any normal vessel. The Nemesis absorbed it, its quantum shields flaring with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. The ship's response was devastating in its precision, a single shot that pierced the alien vessel's defenses like they weren't there. As the Vanguard ship drifted, crippled but not destroyed, Drake opened a channel. This is Captain Marcus Drake of the UES Nemesis. Remember this day. Remember what happened when you tried to force your way into humanity's secrets. We kept ourselves hidden for a reason. The alien ship managed one final transmission before its communications failed. What have we done? The prophecy was true, the sleeping giants woke again. Drake turned to his crew, seeing the same realization in their eyes. Everything would change now. The Nemesis wasn't just a ship anymore, it was humanity's declaration to the galaxy that they were done hiding. Send word to Earth Command, Drake ordered. Tell them first contact has been made. And that humanity's hand has been forced. He paused, watching as the alien ship drifted helplessly. The galaxy wanted to know our secrets. Well, now they are about to learn them all. The Nemesis's engines flared to life, leaving the disabled Vanguard ship behind. As they accelerated away, Drake couldn't help but wonder what other secrets their ship still held, and what else would awaken in the days to come. The galaxy had wanted to understand humanity's power. They were about to get their wish, whether they wanted it or not. News of the encounter between the UES Nemesis and the Vanguard spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Conclave, representatives from 100 species gathered in emergency session. Their worst fears had been confirmed. Humanity had been hiding capabilities far beyond their estimations. On the Nemesis, Captain Drake watched the ship's systems continue to evolve. The Nexus core had been fundamentally altered by the Vanguard's scan, unlocking potentials that even humanity's best scientists hadn't known existed. Another transformation in progress, Nikolai reported from his engineering station. His artificial arms moved with practiced precision across holographic displays showing the ship's rapidly changing architecture. The quantum matrix is rewriting itself. It's like the ship is remembering things it never knew it forgot. Lieutenant Jin's console suddenly lit up with incoming transmissions. Sir, we're receiving signals from across known space. The Vanguard, they are broadcasting warnings to every major civilization. They are calling us. She paused, reading the translation, the awakened ones. Drake stood at his command station, watching as new data scrolled across his cybernetic eyes interface. The Nemesis had changed them all, linking crew and ship in ways that defied conventional understanding. They could feel the ship's growing awareness, its emerging consciousness. Captain, Nikolai called out, his voice tight with concern, you need to see this. He projected a hologram in the center of the bridge, a complex diagram of the Nexus core's structure. The alien scan didn't just trigger dormant systems. It revealed something older. Much older. The hologram shifted, showing layers of technology within the core that hadn't been part of its original design. Patterns and symbols that looked ancient yet impossibly advanced. These components, Nikolai continued, they are not ours. They were already there, waiting. Sir. Lieutenant Jin's voice cut through the revelation. Multiple Vanguard vessels detected at the edge of the system. They are running from something. The main view screen activated, showing a dozen Vanguard ships in full retreat. Behind them, space itself seemed to tear open. Through the rift emerged vessels of impossible scale, living metal and crystalline structures that defied physics. The precursor fleet, Drake whispered, the knowledge somehow flowing into his mind from the Nexus core. The Vanguard's scan, it didn't just wake up our ship. It sent a signal. A beacon. Across the bridge, crew members touched their neural interfaces instinctively as information flooded their linked consciousness. The Nemesis wasn't just a warship, it was a key, a trigger built by an ancient race that had seen this moment coming millions of years ago. More ships dropping out of FTL, Jin reported. Multiple configurations. Sir, they are all broadcasting the same message on all frequencies. The message played through the ship's systems, translated instantly, the signal is received. The Guardians return. The trial begins. Drake felt the Nemesis respond, its systems resonating with the ancient vessels. They knew, he said, understanding flowing through him. Humanity didn't build the Nexus core, we found it. Our ancestors found it and built around it, protected it, waiting for this moment. Captain, Nikolai's voice was quiet, the core is showing us something else. These ships, these precursors, they are not here to attack. They are here to judge. The Vanguard's scan, it wasn't just curiosity. They were looking for something specific. A sign that humanity was ready. The bridge crew watched as more rifts opened across space, disgorging vessels of increasingly impossible designs. The Nemesis's systems continued to evolve, each transformation bringing new understanding. They seeded their technology across the galaxy, Drake said, the knowledge crystallizing in his mind. Left pieces of themselves behind, waiting for a species that could not only find them but understand them. Use them. Protect them. Lieutenant Jin's console erupted with new alerts. Sir, the Vanguard ships, they are transmitting to their homeworld. They are acknowledging humanity as the inheritors. The Nemesis shuddered, its hull rippling with energy as more ancient systems activated. Through their neural links, the crew felt the ship's excitement, its anticipation. This wasn't just first contact gone wrong, this was a test humanity had been unknowingly preparing for since they first found the core. Send word to Earth Command, Drake ordered, his cybernetic eye glowing brighter as it processed the flood of new data. Tell them everything's changed. The galaxy didn't just learn our secrets, they learned why we had them in the first place. The precursor ships moved into formation around the Nemesis, their presence both threatening and protective. Humanity hadn't just been hiding their technology, they had been guarding it, proving themselves worthy of the legacy left behind by beings who had transcended ordinary existence. What now, sir? Jin asked, her hands steady on her console despite the magnitude of the moment. Drake looked out at the assembled fleet, at the frightened Vanguard ships, at the tears in space that continued to bring more ancient vessels into reality. Now, he said, we show them why the precursors chose us. Why humanity was trusted with their legacy. And why the Vanguard should have asked permission before trying to take it. The Nemesis's engines flared to life, its hull now adorned with glowing symbols that hadn't been seen in millions of years. The trial had begun, and humanity's role as the galaxy's guardians was about to be revealed to all. The great halls of Earth's orbital command hummed with unprecedented activity. Holographic displays showed hundreds of precursor ships emerging across known space, each arrival sending ripples through their galactic community. Commander Jenna Winters, Earth's chief military strategist, stood before the assembled leadership, her augmented vision processing the flood of incoming data. The awakening wasn't limited to the Nemesis, she announced, gesturing to the tactical display. Every human vessel equipped with quantum-based systems is undergoing transformation. The precursor technology we thought would reverse engineered? It was dormant, waiting. And now it's all waking up. Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Captain Drake and his crew witnessed the galaxy's reaction to humanity's revelation. Lieutenant Jin's communications array hadn't stopped buzzing since the precursor fleet's arrival. Another transmission from the collective assembly, Jin reported, her fingers dancing across her console. They are demanding explanations. The Vanguard's warnings have sparked panic across 17 systems. Nikolai looked up from his engineering station, his artificial arms moving in complex patterns as he interfaced with the ship's evolving systems. They should be worried, he said grimly. The Nexus core is showing me things, histories we never knew existed. The precursors didn't just leave us their technology, they left us their memories. Through their neural links, the crew shared glimpses of ancient knowledge, vast wars that had scarred galaxies, civilizations that had risen and fallen, and the precursors' final decision to find worthy successors rather than maintain their dominion eternally. Multiple contacts approaching, Jin announced suddenly. The collective assembly's combined fleet. 50 ships, heavily armed. They are demanding we power down our systems and submit to inspection. Drake's cybernetic eye flared as he processed the tactical data. The Nemesis had changed so much in the past few hours that their original schematics were practically irrelevant. The ship wasn't just a vessel anymore, it was becoming something that defied conventional classification. They still don't understand, Drake said, watching the approaching fleet. The precursors didn't choose humanity because we were the most advanced or the most peaceful. They chose us because we never stopped questioning, never stopped reaching for the stars despite our limitations. The collective fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons charged. But before they could act, space itself seemed to shudder. The precursor ships that had been passively observing suddenly shifted, their impossible geometries rearranging into new configurations. "Sir," Nikolai called out, his voice filled with awe, "the core is accessing more memories." The precursors, they weren't just looking for guardians. They were looking for students. Through their shared connection with the ship, the crew witnessed visions of the precursors' journey, their rise from primitive beings to masters of reality itself. But with that mastery had come understanding, the knowledge that power without wisdom, without growth, without the drive to question and learn, was meaningless. "The collective assembly is hailing us again," Jin reported. "They are." She paused, surprise evident in her voice. "They are receiving transmissions from their own ancient sites. Similar technologies, different stages of dormancy. The precursors didn't just choose humanity, they seeded potential throughout the galaxy." Drake understood then. The Vanguard's scan hadn't just awakened humanity's inherited legacy, it had triggered a galaxy-wide renaissance. Every species that had shown the potential for growth, for wisdom, was being given access to their own piece of the precursor's knowledge. "We're not meant to be the galaxy's rulers," Drake said, the realization flowing through him. "We're meant to be its teachers. The first to awaken, the first to understand." The collective fleet's aggressive posture suddenly shifted. Their weapons powered down as their own ships began to transform, ancient systems awakening to lesser degrees than humanity's but awakening nonetheless. "They are requesting dialogue," Jin announced, a smile in her voice. "Not just the fleet, representatives from 30 different species. They've all found similar technologies, similar gifts. They want to understand." Nikolai's artificial arms moved in complex patterns as he processed new data from the core. "The precursors left us a message," he said. "It's becoming clear now that the systems are fully online. They say they chose humanity to lead because we never lost our sense of wonder. Despite our wars, our struggles, our limitations, we never stopped looking up at the stars in awe." The Nemesis's hull rippled with energy, its structure continuing to evolve as more ancient systems activated. Through their neural links, the crew felt the ship's satisfaction, its sense of purpose fulfilled. "Send word to Earth Command," Drake ordered, his cybernetic eye taking in the transformed fleet before them. "Tell them to prepare for guests. The real first contact begins now, not as conquerors or subjects, but as teachers and students together." The precursor ships moved in perfect harmony, creating a display of light and energy that drew gasps of wonder from every watching vessel. It wasn't a show of force, it was a demonstration of what was possible when technology and wisdom worked in harmony. "The Vanguard ships are returning," Jin reported. They are requesting permission to approach. To learn." Drake smiled, feeling the weight of history, of responsibility, and of possibility. "Grant them access," he said. "After all, their curiosity started this. It's only fitting they be among the first to understand what they helped awaken." The galaxy was changing, transforming not through war or conquest, but through shared discovery and wonder. Humanity had been given the honor of leading the way, not because they were perfect, but because they had never lost their ability to dream. Not everyone in the galaxy welcomed enlightenment. As the Nemesis led the first joint training exercises with ships from 30 different species, dark forces gathered in the shadows of distant systems. The Shroud Collective, a group of species that had rejected the precursor awakening, prepared for war. Captain Drake stood on the Nemesis's newly evolved command deck, watching as alien vessels practiced maneuvers alongside human ships. The neural link shared their progress, flashes of triumph, moments of understanding, the joy of discovery. "Incoming priority transmission from Earth Command," Lieutenant Jin announced, her expression tightening. "Commander Winters is reporting multiple attacks on precursor sites across the Outer Rim. The Shroud Collective is destroying the dormant technologies before they can awaken." Nikolai's artificial arms moved in agitated patterns as he processed data from the Nexus core. "They are not just destroying technology," he said, his voice grim. They are erasing history. The core is showing me their true goal. They want to prevent any species from accessing the precursor legacy. Through their neural interface, the crew felt the Nemesis's response, a deep, resonating anger that spoke of ancient betrayals and forgotten wars. The ship was remembering something the precursors had feared might happen. Multiple hostile contacts detected, Jin reported suddenly. Shroud Collective vessels, unlike anything we've seen. They are using corrupted precursor tech. The main display showed ships that seemed to drink in light, their hulls covered in twisting patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. The Shroud Collective had found their own ancient technologies, but they had twisted them, forced them to evolve along darker paths. The core is reacting, Nikolai called out, his artificial arms blurring as they interfaced with multiple systems. It's showing us something, a memory, a warning. The Shroud Collective, they are not just afraid of change. They are servants of something older than the precursors. The memory flooded through their neural links, images of ancient beings that had opposed the precursors' philosophy of shared growth and enlightenment. Entities that believed in power through dominance, evolution through conflict. The negation, as the precursors had called them. Battle stations, Drake ordered, his cybernetic eye processing tactical data faster than humanly possible. Alert all allied vessels. This isn't just about technology anymore, this is about the future of all sentient life. The Shroud Collective ships attacked without warning, their weapons firing beams of absolute darkness that seemed to erase whatever they touched. But the Nemesis was ready. Its hull shifted, quantum shields adapting to this ancient threat. Multiple allies responding, Jin reported, her hands steady on her console despite the chaos. The Vanguard ships are taking point positions. The collective assembly fleet is moving to protect the outer sectors. Through their neural link, the crew felt the Nemesis's certainty. This was why humanity had been chosen. Not just for their wonder or their potential, but for their determination. Their ability to face darkness without flinching. Sir, Nikolai called out, his voice tight with discovery, the core is showing me something else. The precursors, they didn't just leave us technology. They left us a choice. A way to end this, but... He paused, artificial arms trembling, the price is high. The battle raged around them, ships of light and darkness engaging in a dance of destruction that painted space in impossible colors. The Allied fleet fought well, their newly awakened technologies responding to the threat. But the Shroud Collective's corrupted power was formidable. The core is giving us access to something called the Unity Protocol, Nikolai continued. It would link all awakened precursor tech into a single network, give us the power to push back the darkness. But it requires sacrifice. Drake understood through their shared link. The Unity Protocol would require someone to merge completely with the Nexus core, to become a bridge between past and present, between all awakened species and their inherited legacy. Sir. Jin's voice cut through his thoughts. Earth Command is reporting multiple Shroud Collective fleets emerging across human space. They are targeting population centers, trying to force us to divide our forces. The Nemesis shuddered under another attack, its quantum shields holding but strained. Through their neural link, the crew felt the ship's determination, its unwavering resolve. It had chosen humanity for moments exactly like this. The Unity Protocol, Drake said, his cybernetic eye glowing brighter as he made his decision. Nikolai, begin the sequence. Lieutenant Jin, inform all allied vessels to prepare for connection. Sir, Jin's voice was quiet, understanding dawning. The protocol, it has to be you, doesn't it? The core chose you from the beginning. Drake nodded, watching as more Shroud Collective ships emerged from the darkness. Humanity wasn't chosen because we were perfect, he said, moving toward the newly formed chamber at the heart of the bridge. We were chosen because we understand sacrifice. Because we know that sometimes the hardest choice is the only choice. The chamber opened, revealing a space that seemed to exist between dimensions. The culmination of precursor technology, waiting for the final piece, a human consciousness ready to bridge past and present, to unite all awakened species against the darkness. Send word to Earth Command, Drake ordered, removing his captain's insignia. Tell them humanity's greatest strength was never our technology. It was our heart. Our willingness to stand against the dark, no matter the cost. As Captain Marcus Drake stepped into the chamber, the Nemesis began its final transformation. The Unity protocol activated, connecting all awakened ships, all awakened species, into a single purpose. The time had come to face the darkness, not alone, but together. The transformation was beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. As Captain Drake merged with the Nexus core, the Nemesis became a beacon of pure energy, a bridge between ancient wisdom and present necessity. Through the Unity protocol, every awakened ship, every species that had embraced the Precursor legacy, felt the change. Lieutenant Jin watched through tears as her captain's physical form dissolved into pure light, his consciousness expanding through the neural network to touch every allied vessel. Nikolai's artificial arms moved in perfect synchronization, managing the unprecedented energy flows that threatened to overwhelm their systems. All allied vessels report successful connection, Jin announced, her voice steady despite the emotion. The Unity protocol it's changing everything. Through the shared consciousness that now linked all awakened ships, they felt Drake's presence, no longer just human, but something more. A bridge between what was and what could be. His voice echoed through every neural link, every quantum circuit. We are not alone. We never were. The Precursors didn't just leave us their technology, they left us their hope. Their dream of a galaxy united not by force, but by understanding. The Shroud Collective's ships pressed their attack, their corrupted technology trying to tear holes in reality itself. But now, through the Unity protocol, every allied ship moved as one. The Vanguard's precision, the Collective Assembly's innovation, humanity's determination, all flowing together in perfect harmony. Multiple Shroud Collective flagships emerging from hyperspace, Jin reported, watching as massive vessels of twisted darkness appeared. They are trying to trigger some kind of quantum collapse. Through their enhanced connection, the crew felt Drake's understanding. The Shroud Collective wasn't just trying to destroy the Precursor legacy, they were trying to rewrite the fundamental laws of the universe, to create a reality where only strength through domination could exist. The Negation's final protocol, Drake's voice echoed through their minds, carrying ancient knowledge. The Precursors faced this choice before. They chose to seal away their power, to wait for others who would use it wisely. Now we must make our choice. The Nemesis surged forward, its hull now composed of pure energy, ancient symbols burning like stars across its surface. Every allied ship moved with it, their combined power creating patterns in space that hadn't been seen since the dawn of time. Sir, Nikolai called out, his artificial arms moving at impossible speeds, the core is showing us the truth. The Precursors and the Negation, they were the same species. Two paths, two choices. And now history repeats. Through their link, they understood. Every species faced this moment, this choice between light and darkness, between unity and dominance. The Shroud Collective wasn't just an enemy, they were a reflection of what any species could become if they chose wrong. The battle reached its crescendo. The Shroud Collective unleashed weapons that should have unmade reality, but the unified fleet stood firm. Drake's consciousness, expanded through the Unity protocol, showed them all their way forward. We are not here to destroy, his voice resonated through every ship, every mind. We are here to redeem. To show another way. The Nemesis began to pulse with impossible energy. Not attacking, but transforming. The Unity protocol wasn't a weapon, it was a key, a way to unlock the truth that the Precursors had discovered eons ago. Now. Drake commanded, and every allied ship released their energy in perfect synchronization. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. The pulse that emanated from the unified fleet wasn't destructive, it was revelatory. As it touched the Shroud Collective's ships, their corrupted technology began to heal. The darkness that had twisted them began to fade. Through their shared connection, every species felt the change. The Shroud Collective's consciousness, freed from the Negation's influence, recoiled in horror at what they had almost done. The choice between light and darkness played out again, but this time, unity prevailed. It's done, Jin whispered, watching as the transformed Shroud Collective ships powered down their weapons. They are requesting connection to the Unity protocol. The cost had been high. Drake's physical form was gone, his consciousness now permanently part of the Nexus core, spread through the neural network that connected all awakened species. But his sacrifice had achieved what the precursors had hoped for, a galaxy ready to move forward together. "Command," Nikolai called out softly, his artificial arms finally still. "What now?" Drake's presence filled their minds one last time, carrying not sadness but hope. "Now we do what humanity has always done best. We explore. We learn. We grow. Not alone, but together. The precursors chose us not to rule, but to show that the hardest path, the path of unity, of understanding, of sacrifice for something greater, is always worth taking." The Nemesis hung in space, forever changed, a living symbol of what was possible when species chose to face the darkness together. Its hull still pulsed with Drake's consciousness, a reminder that the greatest power wasn't in technology or weapons, but in the choice to stand for something greater than oneself. Around them, ships from 100 species began to move in formation, their awakened technologies humming in harmony. The galaxy was entering a new age, not one of conquest or domination, but of shared discovery and growth. "Send word to Earth, Command," Jin said, smiling through her tears. Tell them, Captain Drake showed us the way. And we're ready to follow it." The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the hope that now connected all awakened species. The precursor legacy wasn't just about power or technology, it was about choice. And humanity, through sacrifice and determination, had helped the galaxy make the right one. The journey wasn't over. It was just beginning. And somewhere in the neural network that now spanned the stars, Captain Marcus Drake smiled, knowing that his sacrifice had helped write a new chapter in the story of all sentient life.